Would you like to know what your co-workers or neighbors say and think about you? Of course, you would love to know. Even Jesus showed interest in gossips about himself. In today's Gospel, he asked the apostles, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" They told him that some people thought he was John the Baptist. Maybe because Jesus and John were cousins and had similar preaching style and way of living. There were other people in the society who thought he was Elijah, Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. But it was Peter who was right when he said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Maybe the other disciples thought to themselves, "Wow, how did he work it out? At the end, he was only a simple fisherman." But it was Simon, son of Jonah, who named Jesus as Christ, and in return, the Lord started to call him Rock, a name that in Aramaic is Kephas, in Latin Petrus, and in Greek Petros. Not only that, Jesus told him that on this rock he will build his church. A fisherman who grew up on the shores of Lake Galilee would become a foundation of the global community of believers. A sinful man became the first pope and the leader of the universal church. My dear friends, we need to understand that Jesus can use any of us to be his followers and to proclaim his message of salvation to the world. Some of us might feel very weak and even denied Jesus as Peter did. However, what the Lord wants from us is only the trust and humble recognition that we are nothing without him. In our judgmental society, people easily criticize those in power and often would like to see different ones on the top. We analyze decisions made by our bosses at work, schools, and parishes. We see their lack of ability and weaknesses, not realizing that very often we just project on them our personal issues. Some people will never be happy with decisions made for them. St. Paul wrote in his letter to the Romans, "How rich are the depths of God, how deep his wisdom and knowledge, and how impossible to penetrate his motives or understand his methods. Who could ever know the mind of the Lord?" We will never be able to understand God's ways. Similarly, we are unable to know all the motives and methods used by our leaders. We need to realize that there are many ways of thinking and dealing with different issues, not necessarily tuned to our ways of resolving problems. When Jesus chose Peter to be the first pope of the church, the other apostles could have said it was a wrong choice. He wasn't clever enough to be our leader. But Jesus knew what he was doing. Peter had unseen qualities to be able to lead the church known only to the Lord. For example, he had a gift of openness to God's revelations. Jesus said to him, "Simon, son of Jonah, you are a happy man, because it was not flesh and blood that revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven." That was one of the reasons why he was given the keys of the kingdom of heaven. What did Jesus mean? He explained it very clearly when he said, "Whatever you bind on earth shall be considered bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be considered loosed in heaven." Some people didn't accept Jesus' words and rejected Peter's leadership. In our times, there are communities that don't accept them as well. True Catholics know that Pope, bishops, priests, and deacons have the spiritual authority in the Church given to them by Jesus himself. Let us pray for a gift of obedience to Jesus' teaching and for humility in our everyday Christian life.